Hi guys, so I'm going to be talking today to you guys about the book Towers Falling, and it's by Joelle Rhodes. And Joelle Rhodes is a very known author, and actually she's published many award-winning books, but she's also published 4 children's books. And Towers Falling actually won the Bluebonnet Award for the 2017-2018 Master List. What the Bluebonnet Award is kind of books that are awarded, people who choose them are teachers, students, parents, and librarians, and they chose Towers Falling. So the title Towers Falling, for my generation and my generations above, and generations above mine, they were familiarized with the title Towers Falling. However, the intended audience for this book probably wouldn't understand Towers Falling just right off the bat, because they were not alive to experience it unless they had some sort of background knowledge or their parents have talked to them about it. So this book is kind of a really good to go into talking about this sensitive subject. So Towers Falling is kind of about Deja. She's the main character. She lives in a shelter with her family. Pops, is very sick all the time. He's hiding something. He's hiding something in a briefcase. He's not working, so they're very poor. It's her first day at Brooklyn Collective Elementary, and she meets Ben and Sabine. First, she's very, territorial. She doesn't really want to talk to them, standoffish, but then she becomes friends with them. Miss Garcia, her teacher, asks everyone, do they know about what happened on September 11th? And look at this picture and see that these towers are missing. Everyone in the class seems to know what's going on except for Deja. She's like, well, what do you mean? What towers are missing? And so finally she, what happened on 9/11, and Ben and Sabine, her friends, explained to her that there was a terror attack on the Twin Towers on 9/11, and Sabine also it also touches a little bit on racism, because Sabine explains that, on that day her family doesn't usually leave the house because people believe that it was her race that did it. And so it's a very sensitive subject on that part too. So obviously Deja goes home and asks her parents how come she has no exposure to this, and what happened, and her pops gets very upset and says she's too young to be learning about anything like that, and that she was going to be taken away from the school. Finally, Ben and Deja go on a trip, and they go to the 9/11 memorial. And this is also very good to include in the book, because students, the intended audience, may not know that there's a 9/11 memorial and what it consists of and all the names of the people deceased. So it's kind of the turning point of the book when they visit this and she's exposed to all this sadness and emotion. Then finally her dad tells her that he was a part of, he was working at the Twin Towers when 9/11 occurred. So it's a very emotional, for someone my age, the details in this book were very emotional for me, especially when Pops is explaining what happened that day. So I can only imagine the impact that it would put on somebody who's just learning about this. So I think it's a very good exposure it's a very good fictional exposure to the actual event that occurred. So again, it won the Bluebonnet Award, and Joelle Rhodes is a very, very good author. The way she worded this very emotional thing that it's new to these students that are reading it was the very good way that she worded it. So for my before, during, and after activities, I chose a think, pair, share. And so the students are going to ask, are you aware of the events that took place? And what does the word unity mean to you? So what do you think about it? What does your partner think about it? And what will you two share with the classroom? For my during activity, I chose a story map. And it's like about the title and author, main characters, setting, problem or conflict, the solution, and supporting characters. So they fill that out while they're reading, because it's very known while they're reading all the problems and the solutions. For my after activity, I did an exit activity, an exit ticket, and Pretend your friend outside your class saw your book and was interested in reading it. How would you summarize the book for them, and how did the book make you feel and why? I specifically added this last question because I wanted to know how it would make them feel, because for me it was a very emotional book, but it was very important to be published to the intended audience, because there's not much exposure to it unless your family tells you about it or you have some sort of background knowledge about it. So I think this book is an amazing way. Joelle Rhodes did an amazing job bringing about this emotional and kind of huge experience. Usually these are going to be, this is a part of their history, and this is going to be something that goes on for many generations to come. And the details that this book shares from Pop's point of view are very detailed, and it's honestly chosen in a beautiful way. The book itself, the words itself, and the whole way they experienced it. So I really enjoyed reading this book, and I definitely will keep it in my classroom for my future generations, because this is something that everybody needs to know about, and the way that it's conveyed is an amazing job.